Hey, what is up, Polar fam? This is Shib Bear here, joined by the one, the only Julian for our weekly Polar Community AMA on this beautiful November 30th, 2022, or December 1st in the world of Australia, New Zealand, and that region of the planet. So shout out to you guys. Happy December over there. During this week's AMA, we're going to go over some of the latest and greatest of the updates with Polar. Of course, we have some information about the Polar Bear Battle Royale that we kind of got a little bit of the announcements about this morning of, and also to answer any and all questions that you guys might have. So if you do have any questions along the way, please simply request to speak live or post your questions in the AMA Questions Weekly channel, and we will answer them for you there. I know sometimes people will try to post questions in the general chat. We will check there occasionally, but please try to keep them in the AMA Questions Weekly channel so we can make sure we get to each and every person that might have something on their mind. But I do like to prioritize those who speak live, so definitely feel free to do that. So, where are we with Polar, right? So if you guys are, paying attention, then great. You've seen all the announcements, you've seen the white papers, you've seen the information about the tournament coming up with the Polar Bear Battle Royale. But if you have not, there's been a significant amount of updates in the last month or so, right? So definitely, if you have not been engaged with the protocol, that's totally understandable, but please go back and read through the main announcement channel. We have our white paper posted, the most up-to-date version I reposted this morning. So that first announcement on the main announcement channel is the latest white paper with some just updates from the previous ones. Nothing super significant, but definitely some more information and a little bit more cleanly articulated than it was originally. So check that out, read through that, try to get a good understanding, and of course ask questions along the way. We also have had a couple of stress tests with the Polar Bear Battle Royale. So if you had not checked into that announcement just yet, there is going to be a tournament for the Polar Bear Battle Royale minigame. We've talked about it. We've showed you guys teasers occasionally. Like I said, we've had stress testers work through it as well. So with all that there, we have quite a bit going on. This tournament is going to take place from December 8th until December 11th. Now, the times are going to be variant to those time zones that you might be in. See if I can do some quick math. Technically, I guess that is December 9th at, 8 p.m. UTC is 6 hours. So at 0030 UTC to December 12th at 0030 UTC. So check out that announcement. It has the times adjusted to your time zone. So keep that in mind that it is going to be a little bit variant for each of those out there around the planet because time zones are different, right? But how do you participate in this? That's kind of the question that we've had a lot here today in the morning is saying, hey, if we want to join in, what is the process? How do we join? Can we play it on mobile? All those good things there we'll go over here right now. So it can be played on mobile. It's kind of designed to be mostly on mobile, but I believe people can still get onto it on desktop. But most people like to use their mobile device, so it'll be perfectly fine on there. Once you have a, just, hey, I want to get involved with this, it's more so, how do I get involved, right? So we've talked a little bit about the subscription model that we are going to be releasing with Polar as we get into this latest update. That's going to be going live ideally tomorrow. So we're going to get that put out there. There is going to be an announcement put out on exactly how to navigate to that. There will be a little bit of an updated domain for people to go to that website and be able to subscribe to the subscription process here. And that's going to give you a variety of different benefits. So we've talked about it a bit in the white paper, all the different aspects there. If you have the subscription, it gets you involved with the games. It gets you involved with the education platform. And it also makes you eligible for different airdrops and other benefits over time. The subscription is going to be a little bit variant in prices depending on if you do own these NFTs, what we call Genesis NFTs, which are the nodes that you are all used to now, right? So for the same Everest, Ushuaia, all those nodes that we have out there, if you have these, then of course you are going to be eligible to get these subscriptions at a reduced cost. So if you hold these NFTs, the subscription cost is going to be $19. I'm going to say per month. Preda said it's about 32 days. Let's just make it clean, $19 per month. And that'll get you access to the Polarify games, which will include the Polar Bear Battle Royale, the Hera games, and Polaris. It'll get you free entry into the game tournaments and also exclusive offers that go along with that. Gives you access to the scholarship platform, which we talked about in the white paper, and also through the Discord as well. And then we've talked a little bit more about how the different educational platforms are going to be working, right? So there's going to be a variety of different educational courses that are going to be offered to those who have these subscriptions. It's going to be everything from, crypto investing to different security mechanics, to mental health, to editing, to code, information about trade bots, all sorts of different things. Really, there is no limits to how far we can expand that specific branch. So it'll give you access to that. It'll also give you just some access to private groups, and there will be more features released to those who subscribe in the future. So there's going to be quite a bit of benefits to getting into the subscription. I know, some people are a bit hesitant to drop some additional cash flow. That's why we are opening up this tournament right away. So you guys do have a tangible thing to interact with the subscription. There will be some of those educational courses put out in the very near future as well, so you will be getting that benefit very, very soon. So try to keep that stuff in mind. If you do not have an NFT, then the subscription is $39 if you don't hold those NFTs, right? So if you have a current node, any of our current nodes, right? We have our Fujis, Mont Blanc, Kilimanjaros, Ushuaia, Everest. If you have any of those, and Olympus, of course, you have any of those right now, those are the Genesis NFTs. You get the subscription at a reduced cost. It'll be $19 per month approximately. Like Pred said, it's about 32 days, but per month to make that clean. Once we do open that platform, we are going to release an announcement, of course, but do not try to subscribe more than once because you will just get one NFT. And that NFT gives you the subscription, right? So you can't stack them up over, for 12 months or anything. Right now, you're just going to have that one per month. And I'm sure we can expand that as we move forward from there. So there has been some stress testers. They've kind of seen a little bit about how the mechanics of the Polar Bear Battle Royale are working. So there is going to be some benefits to engaging in this tournament, right? So anything with a tournament, obviously the goal is to win. If you have a little bit of competitive mindset in you, then trying to win is ideal, obviously. But we also are trying to get some benefits for that. So check over that announcement. There will be a couple of different benefits that you can win from this tournament that's going to be going live on December 8th, or technically December 9th UTC, very early in the morning. But from this announcement, all users who subscribe in the month of December of 2022, which is this month, starting tomorrow, technically today in some areas of the world, will automatically be entered into a raffle to win $100 in USDC. And that'll be one person to get that reward, but you'll also have an option to get a benefit for winning that tournament as well, right? So there's going to be a bit going on there at the Polar Bear Battle Royale. This is the first game that we're introducing into the gamification aspect. So we do hope and wish that people do ask questions, that do choose to engage with the Polar Bear Battle Royale platform, because this is kind of, a big stepping stone, right? It's not the only thing that we're working on, but it is definitely a piece of the pie here that we do want to offer the community to engage with. I feel like that was a lot of words, right? So with that being said, there have been some updates to the white paper as well. If you kind of go down towards the far end of this white paper, right? So this is going to be page 14. We have it labeled out for you. We have, let me go find it as well. We have a few different roles now that'll be associated with this subscription model. So I know everyone, kind of saw they got a new role in the Discord. It's a Neanderthal role that's not meant to be offensive. If anyone finds Neanderthal as offensive, it's genuinely not. It's just a role kind of like a RPG style role. And it makes sense when you start reading through how this how this progression is going to work over time, right? So there's going to be 11 different roles here that'll go in. Well, 12 technically. Neanderthal is level 0 all the way up to level 11, which is a 12th role, and that's Mammoth. So there's going to be a lot of information released on how to get to those different roles, but being a higher role gives you more access to more of the ecosystem, right? So for example, access to the scholarships, you will have to be level 6, which is the Sabertooth role in this platform. So scholarships can range anywhere from 6,000 to 10,000. So that is kind of a pretty important thing to look into for someone who would want to be engaged with that scholarship and be able to win it in the future, right? So a lot of different things from there, including airdrops, which will be kind of neat as well, and whitelist spots for Polaris. So those roles are going to become a pretty good part of the ecosystem here. It's going to allow us to kind of make it more of a gamification protocol, if that makes sense, where there are different tiers and different levels to those who are engaging with a variety of different aspects of the protocol itself. So there is a lot of work going in to all these different elements of the protocol. So having these levels really gives that extra benefit to someone who is actually participating as much as possible, and it gives them the most opportunity to get the most back over time, and gives them, those whitelist spots, potential to get into some of the scholarships and other benefits that'll be released over time. So lots of good things there. There has been some updates with the APR as well. I do advise that you read over the white paper. Again, the APR is going to be on pages 10 and 11. So that'll be technically 9 and 10. We'll go from there. We're just going to give you those different tiers for all the different NFTs, and it really gives you a good idea on how each of these work. I know we have had the question of, hey, what is it? Do you have a calculator? How do I know what my returns are if I claim, if I don't claim, if I don't use a repair kit, if I do use a repair kit, if I wait 6 months, etc., etc. Shout out to Bernie. We didn't release this live just yet, and we want to give it just a little bit more time to make sure that it is all good. But Bernie did make a pretty good Excel sheet calculator that'll allow people to take their own specific situation and say, hey, I have X amount of Everest. I'm going to use a repair kit this month, not this month. I'm going to claim on this month. This is the price of PolarFi, which, by the way, we have changed the new token name to PolarFi from what it was before. So that'll be the new name of the token as we move over to BSC, PolarFi. That'll really let you know, say, hey, this is my actual value based off of these different variables, because there are quite a few variables to it. I am very cognizant of that, right? But I also don't want to be doing hundreds of personal examples for people to kind of get a good idea of what to expect for their own situation. So this calculator that Bernie made, once we do decide to release that live, it'll be very helpful for all who do want to engage with that calculator, right? It kind of gives you a good idea there. So you just got to take a little breath. So with all that said, that's kind of the biggest updates that we've had in the last week. I do feel like it's been a busy week, productive week. We've had a stress test. Pred has been trying to get that PB Polar Bear Battle Royale game up and ready to go, and it looks like it is just about there. Like we mentioned earlier, tournaments are going to be in, next week, about 8 days from now, right? So that's going to be when all that starts up. That'll be that first show and that first display of the gamification to Polar. So it's a pretty big jump here. Before I get the question, however, when migration, we do not have a date set just yet. So we will let you guys know via the announcement channel when we do decide to set a formal and finalized date on the migration. We want to make sure that everything is exactly as it should be, because if you guys do recall, when we went to version 3.5, there was way too many bugs and it just wasn't very advantageous for the community or for us to use. So we want to make sure everything is checked, all the artwork is clean, everything's functioning as it should be. So once that gets live, we will announce a set date. We will give ample time for those to migrate their NFTs over if they wish to. You will have 2 weeks from when the migration starts. So once we say, hey, migration is going to start at X date, from that moment that we push that update, you will have 14 days to migrate your NFTs over to BSC. If you choose not to, that's perfectly fine, but they will no longer be able to be migrated and they will be null and void after that 2 week period of time. It's very, very important. If you are curious about how exactly these NFTs are going to migrate over, we did put that out in an announcement here just a couple of back from November 14th. I have it in there. I have made a couple updates to it just as we've gotten a little bit more clear with how each tier of NFT is going to work. So all that is defined by there. It literally goes by the number that the node was, right? So if you go into the DApp right now, you can go to My NFTs. You can see you have node number 1 or node number 92,152, etc. This will allow you to take that exact number. You can say, okay, cool, I'm in this tier, and this is what's going to happen to my nodes when I do migrate, if I choose to migrate over to BSC. Again, we want to make this very clear, very transparent for anybody who wants to move it over, right? So we are able to accommodate you appropriately with everything that you're looking to accomplish on that side, right? We want to give you that full knowledge base to make that informed and cognizant decision, because it is no longer the same, very high reward, high yield, a little bit intensely risky protocol that we were back January up until this point. There are a lot of of things that we've changed. And if you do want to get on board to this kind of new, real business vision, then of course we want to give you all that information available so that you can make that informed decision along the way, which is also why we do these AMAs. So as always, if you guys do have questions, please simply request to speak live or ask away in the AMA Questions Weekly channel, which thus far we haven't had any questions yet, and I've just been talking quite a bit, but that's okay because I do have one more thing to go over here directly. But if you guys do have any questions, please, I do like bringing you guys up here. I do like engaging with you. I'll filibuster with economic news if I so have to, if you guys force me to. But that ties right into what I'm going to go into next, is a bit of a podcast environment, right? So if you guys did, follow me on Twitter, there was a point in time that I have done podcasts in the past on Twitter Spaces. I think they're pretty cool, right? It doesn't have to be specific to a project, but we can talk specifically about projects in general. This will be sponsored by Polar. This will cover everything from crypto news to economic news to a specific project. We could talk about some advances of Polar. We could talk about some other things that are happening in DeFi, saying, hey, have you guys seen this? That's pretty cool. It's new to the space. They're doing X, Y, and Z. It really allows to open the doors a little bit away from the very defined scope that I have in these AMAs, where I do try to keep 99% focused on Polar because it's a Polar community AMA, right? But with these kind of, podcast kind of environments, we can put them up on YouTube. I can get them onto podcast platforms. I'm not sure if I could do a Twitter Spaces. I might be able to. I think I could actually, because I could download the MP3 file from there. We'll look into all that. We'll try to get it across as many platforms as possible to be convenient for people to listen. But I know people do like the YouTube platform for podcasts these days. I think that's pretty clean. Some of them might be video, some of them might not be video, right? So it's not really a huge deal. You guys have all seen me on camera multiple times. You guys literally know everything about me because I've given you guys everything about me since January. So I'm not too worried about any of that stuff. We can work into all of that and make it as great for the community as possible. Ideally, we can go over, like I said, news. We can get guests on there occasionally. We can go into a lot of the different elements because crypto and DeFi is a very ever-evolving topic right now. It's getting pretty heavily influenced by different political sides. It's getting a little bit more close to regulation on a global level, which people are afraid of regulation. I am not. I think regulation is a very good thing for crypto, and it's the only way to become genuinely mainstream. So please keep an eye out. I will be, not necessarily shilling these things, but I will be pushing out information about how these podcasts are going to be operating, and we will keep them very focused. We'll keep topics going. We'll try to keep them clean, fluent, but I do like people to be engaged as well. So maybe I'll eventually get a little questionnaire set up and say, hey, anything that you have on your mind about Polar, about, whatever in the world, we can answer that at one piece of the podcast. Keep it good and structured. So those are kind of the different advances that we have going on there. That'll help us with a little bit of search engine optimization. Like I said, we are going to have a new domain coming up here. So we do need to get a little bit of that trending because this bear market is brutal and it is very painful, but it will not last forever. We continue to build and grow and bring out the games just like the Polar Bear Battle Royale, which, by the way, reminder, is going to have a tournament in about 8 days. So keep up on all those different announcements there. We do want to keep you guys engaged. We want to keep the growth going here. So, of course, that's what we're here for. And now that I've kind of talked for 20 minutes straight, do we have any questions that we can answer? Let's see.
We do.
Okay, cool.
Actually, the first question from a week ago from Nieman. We know that special nodes won't exist after migration. However, has it been determined yet what value will be attributed to special nodes exactly? Will Diamond, Emerald, and Ruby Everest be valued equally, or what's the plan?
Hey, so before I answer that, shout out to Neiman, who, if you guys did not notice, is now a Polar moderator. So definitely appreciate Neiman. He's been very, very great to our community. He's been here for quite some time. Honestly, I think at least since April. So he's been around for a long time. He kind of knows the community in and out. So shout out to you for getting that moderator role. So that's another good question, right? So I don't know that exact answer just yet. I'm sure that we can get it to you though. So I'll reach out to Enor and Pred and say, hey, what exactly is going to be the direct transition to the special NFTs? I think I might have asked that, but quite frankly, I kind of get diluted in my mind sometime. And sometimes I think I ask it, but I don't actually get in there and ask. So we'll make sure to get that information out there and we'll add it to that announcement so everybody has a good, clear understanding of what each special node will do once we migrate over. Because I know Enor did mention that they will move over a little bit differently, but I don't understand, I don't quite know specifically yet saying, a Diamond Everest from this time period will be X, Y, and Z. I don't quite know that just yet. So we will get that information out to you as soon as possible. So great question there.
All right. The next question that has been asked plenty of times and also been answered to this person specifically in the general chat. I looked up the message history, but I'll just read it again, just because it's been asked so many times. Hello, how can I make migration?
Yes. So as by the way, where's Foxeek? I need a Discord bot that takes the word migration and sends out my pin message. That's what I'd want for Christmas from the Polar Fam. But every day we do answer the when migration question, I don't know, maybe a dozen times or so, and that's okay. Not everybody's paying attention to the Discord 24/7. We totally understand that. So there is no set date for migration just yet. We will keep everybody informed via the announcement channel and on Twitter once we have those formalized dates. I have had people say, well, can we get a rough timeline? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to give that because, as I've mentioned to you guys long ago, I am not a developer. I'm not able to say, hey, I'm going to be good to push this live on this date because I don't work on that side of the protocol, right? So once it is all set up and established and ready to go and tested, and we could say, all right, cool, this is going to be the formal date, then we will announce that date there. It was also a great addition by somebody where they said, hey, we shouldn't push the update with that 2-week time limit around the time of Christmas. And I actually agree with that, right? So let's take that into consideration as well. We don't want to, have people who are traveling or with family and not paying attention to the Discords and the Twitters side of the world end up missing the migration time because we pushed it around a holiday. That's not what we're trying to do by any means. So we will keep that in mind and we'll make that as fair as we can for everybody involved.
All right, the next question from Lee Johns. Did you say a subscription-based model? Maybe you'd like to go into that again.
Yeah, so Lee Johns here. I would definitely check out the white paper. Let's see what page the subscription is on. Let me find it while I am going to talk to you about it all so that I can tell you exactly where it is. But we are going to have a subscription model that doesn't impact your NFTs. So that is very, very important. You can still stake your NFTs without having the subscription. However, this PolarFi subscription, if you do hold an NFT, like I mentioned earlier, will be charged $19 a month. Yes, that is paid in crypto. That'll be in a stable coin. I'm not taking, credit cards or anything crazy like that. It is going to be in crypto. So this subscription will give people access to the PolarFi games, the Polaris, the Hair games, the Polar Bear Battle Royale, and those all give you a chance to earn rewards. It gives you free entry into any of the game tournaments that we do offer, and it gives you exclusive offers with those different tournaments as well. It'll also give you access to the scholarships. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, the scholarship price will range anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000. And that'll be something pretty cool to be involved with. Now, like we did say, you do have to be level 6 to be able to be eligible for those scholarships, so keep that in mind as well. This PolarFi subscription gives you access to those specialized education courses that I talked about earlier as well. Like I kind of mentioned, that can literally be as many and as vast as we can creatively get. So right now we've already thought about crypto investing, security, mental health, editing, coding, and trade bots, but we can also put educational platforms about literally anything, right? So not that anyone cares, but if we want to do like an educational course on how monetary policy affects the crypto markets, something very simple, easy to read, understand, because not everybody is an economist out in the world, right? So that'll allow people to maybe get a little bit better understanding of the different elements of DeFi while also engaging with Polar, right? So we can offer that to everyone there. And it gives you access to, private chat groups. That's just here you go, like a extra additional thing that we can offer to those who get the subscriptions, of course. So yes, there will be a subscription model. It is separate from that of the NFT stakings. So just keep that in mind as well. If you just want to stake your NFTs and get that APR and do the live repairs or not and claim whenever, those things are all independent of the Polar subscription model.
All right. Lee Jones is currently. Ah, yeah, okay. Follow-up question from him. I'm mostly just interested in the games. How profitable will they be? Let's say I play for a few hours a day.
Yeah, so I mean, quite frankly, I'm not entirely sure just yet, right? So I know it is a play to earn kind of mechanic. I'm sure it'll be beneficial, right? But I don't know if you played 1 hour, but you're really bad. That would be different than if you're 1 hour and you won all of the games that you played, right? So it's going to be a little bit variable upon, maybe skill, maybe luck, maybe whatever these games kind of work from their different mechanics, but it is designed to be rewarding for those who use it. Obviously, if someone is good at the game and they can, find a way to make more than what they're paying for the subscription, then that's very beneficial. So we are going to, have that as an option. That is going to be something that people are going to be able to do, technically speaking. So we'll get a lot of that information out there. Pred has kind of been taking lead on a lot of those games, especially with the Polar Bear Battle Royale side as well. So he tends to know a bit more about how the internal mechanics work than I do. But I'm sure that'll start to become very, very clear once we get into the tournaments or right now, because Pred, welcome to the stage.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, good. 5 a.m. ish to you. How are you doing?
Yeah. So I won't be too long, and I apologize for my voice, everybody. But yeah, I had to listen to a question about the game, so I just want to jump in, and let you guys know how the mechanics are going to work. Um, Great job, by the way, Shib. I always like listening to the AMAs, man. You really got what you do, especially you too, Julian. With the game, in terms of how profitable it's going to be, with Polar Bear, but PBBR, the way that's going to work is once we get outside of the tournament and once you can start staking, meaning you can start setting the amount of rewards you want to stake for the match, and the other players are going to have to do the same thing. So in terms of rewards, it's going to be limited to however you're ready prepared to bet on yourselves. So you could say, I want to set a match for 1,000 Polar Pie. Well, all other three people are going to have to do that. So when you think about the stakes and winning that, it's going to be very rewarding. Further to PBBR, we're moving very, very fast with hair games. We've learned from a lot of our mistakes from development. So I'm finding that things are moving a lot faster now. Hair games, gosh, that's moving very fast. We're hoping to have that ready probably early Q1 next year, probably very, very early in January. Don't really want to give dates, but this is moving very fast. Now, we are very excited about this game in terms of the rewards because what we're going to be doing is it's going to be just like Frogger. I don't know if any of you know much about Frogger at all, or heard about the classic game. But it's going to be pretty much just like Frogger mixed with a bit of a Squid Game feel to it. You're gonna be competing against 30 other people, all staking X amount of rewards, and the person that manages to win is gonna get a pretty lofty paycheck at the end of that. So we're looking forward to that. In terms of rewards, I'm expecting Hair Games to be one of those games that can take you from a very, very small investment to a very big bag at the end of it as well. So that's going to be coming up soon. Furthermore, with the education, so we are moving forward with that. We do have a few courses already in the making. One of the first courses that's going to be launched is our coding. That's already been planned. We're starting to do testing. All the Polar Foundation members, we are going to be testing the courses before we release them out to you lot, just to make sure that they meet our right criteria. We are also looking at fitness courses as well. So we are in negotiation with that. This is something that's very interesting. So we want to provide, mental health and like Shiv mentioned, but from fitness, we want to be talking about dieting plans, giving you guys, specific workout plans, et cetera, et cetera. So we're looking at all different areas, not just coding, not just editing or anything like that. We're trying to cover as much as we can to give you guys as much benefit to your subscriptions as possible. Now, you mentioned with the scholarship, yes, you do have to be at a particular level. So it is very important to know that you cannot just skip a month and stack up. So, for example, if you haven't been subscribing from now until 5-6 months from here, you're not going to be able to be eligible for that scholarship. All right. So it is implemented to keep the people who are actually interested in this protocol active. So if this is something that you're going to be interested in, if you do want to be in the runnings for that scholarship, then you're going to have to be active from the very beginning, and because we're rewarding the people that do that. The other thing with those scholarships and these courses as well is you may have noticed that I've been messaging a few people. Congratulations to Neiman as well for getting that position. I have been messaging a few people, and we are looking to expand the team, and I'm constantly looking from within. I would much rather improve our team from members that have been supporting us from the beginning. So with these courses, they are going to improve your skills. You might already be good at coding. You might already be good at editing. If you do these courses, they are going to be graded. So just because someone attends a course, it doesn't mean they go into the runnings for a scholarship. We will have a criteria. We will be grading people. So I'm also keeping my eye open for how good someone does in a particular course, because we might be interested in having them on our team to help us grow even further. And my voice is starting to go, so I'm going to leave you guys to it. I've talked much too long. Sorry, Shiv, I've taken your spot here. But yeah, looking forward to a lot of new things in the coming year, guys.
No, hey, definitely appreciate that. It gives me a second to drink some water and make sure that I can still keep talking. So good information there. Definitely appreciate it, man. All right. So I'll answer, let's see here, this one real quick from, unfortunately, I don't know how to pronounce this name. So I'll answer the second one first. You cannot show your YouTube here unless it is solely a Polar kind of show, right? So please don't show anything that is not related to Polar unless you go to off topic. So can we just get a summary of what's happening to the nodes? I'll do that for people here on the AMA so we can all have a good, recorded version of this as well. Definitely check out the announcement. It's sometimes easier to see these and go from there. But nodes created prior to node number 36,000, which was on May 6th, they will migrate over 1-to-1, but they will start out at 0% life. So they'll need repair kits to be accumulating PolarFi tokens. Nodes created from May 7th to June 5th, so from 36,001 to 45,144, actually from 36,000 to 45,144, those nodes will migrate over 1-to-1, but they're going to start at 50% life. So they will be able to accumulate an APR, but it will be at a reduced level. Now, nodes created after June 6th, there is going to be some level of those nodes getting combined or merged together when they migrate over. So if it's before node 52,526, those nodes, when they migrate over, will be divided by 2, except for Fuji's. They will not be combined at all. There's just so few there. It's not a huge impact. Those created from 52,526 to 67,940. Those nodes will be divided by 5. What do I mean by that? That means if you have 5 Everest, they move over as 1 Everest. If you have 9 Everest, it moves over as 1 Everest, because it has to be divisible by that number in the announcement, right? So 10 equals 2, 14 equals 2, 15 equals 3. To go along with that, Fujis are only divided by 2, so if you have 2 Fujis, they will turn into 1. If you have 3 Fujis, they will turn into 1, because it's rounded down, right? It has to be divisible by that number. And then for those nodes that are numbers 67,941 to 78,778, those nodes will be divided by 10. So anything divisible by 10, they will they will be able to move over, but they will move over at one tier lower, right? So if you had 10 Everests from that time there, then they will move over as one Ushuaïa. So it's divisible by 10, one tier lower. So if you have 11, it's 1. If you have 100, it's 10 of one tier lower. Fujis are only divided by 2, again, in that example. And those that are created at that 78,779 and above, so anything after August 27th, they are all divided by 15. Anything less than 15 would not migrate over. So those are the verbal of each level of there that is going to be how they're going to migrate over. So I think I've answered that.
All right. Yeah. The next question, actually a follow-up question from Lee Johns first. Sorry, did you say the Frogger-like game will be on mobile?
So as far as I'm aware, it will be mobile and should also be, I think, desktop compatible, but I think a lot of these are going to be kind of mobiles where they're going to be primarily going. Same thing with the Polar Bear Battle Royale. It's just a lot easier for people to jump on that because they're mini games, and then people to play it on PC. Ideally, they'll be pretty clean on both, but mobile seems to be a good spot to have them.
Yeah, although I actually read early in the general chat that for the upcoming tournament for the Polar Bear Battle Royale, desktop is the preferred platform, but I think it works on both.
Okay, yeah, that would make sense if it's just more compatible there with the desktop one. Cool, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Question from Forbob. Since no new nodes, new entrants to Protofy will have to purchase an existing NFT, correct? Hence, another way for us to profit from the protocol.
Yeah, so that's a good question there. We've had a few of those about how that's going to work, right? So whenever we migrate over, that is the hard cap of NFTs that'll ever be in existence. So after that 2-week period after the migration begins, that we turn off and no longer allow NFTs to migrate over, that is the official hard cap. Now, just off of the numbers that I put out there just a few seconds ago, we're looking at almost a 50% decrease in NFTs that would be migrating, just under that. But that being said, not everyone is going to migrate over, right? That's just common sense. So it will likely be even lower than that. So in order for people to get new NFTs or to get rid of their NFTs if they want to sell them, they'll list them on our marketplace. Now it is going to be, we already have this Polar marketplace, except we can define a floor price. We can define a price for them because it is a marketplace that is owned, centralized, I guess if you want to say, by Polar. So it's not OpenSea, it's not whatever, any of those open marketplaces. It's not going to be those. It will be one that we are able to set those prices for, and we can set the tokens for them, which is very important for the mechanics of the protocol. So that way they're not undercut. But if you do want to buy them and somebody has listed one for sale, then you can buy it with that PolarFi token. And there you go, you got a new one. Or if you want to sell one for that defined amount, then you can list it on there, sell it. Somebody wants to buy it, they buy it. And that is a way for you to accumulate those tokens and then do whatever you wish with them from there. Will there be any tax or fee to sell? The way it is now, Julian, do you remember what it is? I think it's a very small, I think maybe a 2% tax with our current marketplace.
Currently it's 2%.
Yeah, I think it's 2%. Now, I would assume that the mechanics stay the same, Thorbob, but I'm honestly not 100% sure. So we'll get that information out to you guys as well. But as of right now, the current system is a 2% tax for that sale on there. And I would expect it to probably be somewhere around there. That kind of makes the most sense.
All right. There was the last question in the chat. Actually, I just remembered regarding the question from the guy with the, I think it's Japanese letters in the name. You can show your YouTube channel, but I heard Stacks is always looking for possible partnerships. So if your channel is crypto related or something, and you think it would be worth looking into for a partnership, you can reach out to him or just open a marketing ticket.
Hey, that's a great thing as well. I didn't think about it too much. If you have a pronunciation for your name, I'm sorry. They're either, there's some sort of Asian characters. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I do apologize there. But if you are, let's just say, an influencer, for example, and you like to do those things, definitely reach out to either Stacks, myself, and/or Pred, and we can talk with you there and see if we can do some things, because we do like having the community engaged with us, especially if you do, if you have a following on YouTube or not, whatever the case might be. As long as it's something that is relevant to us, we'll have that conversation. Just don't post it in the main open chats until we are sure that, hey, we're cool with that there. Just because I don't want that to become a thing, right? So we've seen how the off topic is just spammed by a bunch of nonsense, to be honest. That's what I don't want to happen in the main chats. So I think we can all, respect that there and work from it. But we do like having influencers. If you guys do remember, we had a ton of good internal influencers back in the day when Polar was out here making a name for itself way back the January, February's, Marches of the world of this past year. So yeah, we're always cool to have that conversation. So hit us up. There is a marketing support ticket that you can open if you do want to try to see if that's a good conversation to have. That way we can all engage with you and see if it would work out for us. If it doesn't, no harm, no foul. We're all cool. No one's, going to be mad at you or anything if you open up a marketing ticket, and we just choose that it might not be a great thing right now. So yeah, that's a great addition.
All right, so I think that was the last question.
All right, cool. Hey, 43 minutes. That kind of flew by here. So yeah, we'll kind of give just a couple of seconds here to see if anything does pop up. I see that there is yourself still typing. I sincerely apologize. I wish I could pronounce your name. If you do have a pronunciation, some phonetic pronunciation, then I would definitely try to do it for you. I just don't know how to pronounce it, to be perfectly honest. So appreciate that information there. Looks like we have answered Aika Kinju, one of the two. I'll try to do my best on that. I promise it's not intentionally. I'm an American who lives in Texas, so I do apologize if I do not quite know those pronunciations, but we are doing our best here. So shout out to you, man. Appreciate the questions, and you've always been engaged here since you've been in the Discord. So shout out to that. Looks like, though, however, let's see. Oh, there is one more thing.
Another question from Lee Johns. I brought this up last week, but I'll ask again. I know the claim taxes will be 30% on notes, but will the monthly decline of notes stay at 10%?
Yeah, so it is a little bit variable, right? So definitely check over that white paper in there. Each LDR. So when you go to page, it looks like it's page 10 in the white paper. It's a life depletion. Part of my language there. Life depletion rate per 30 days. So if you look at this, for Everest, it's 10%, Ushuaia, 12.5%, Kilimanjaro, 15%, Mount Blanc, 17%, Fuji, 20%, and then the Olympus is 8%. So those will stay the same. Every 30 days is when they will all decline by that defined depletion rate amount. So once you get to that level of health, that's sort of independent from the claiming, right? So when you claim, there is that larger claim tax hit. So it is, if you want to think about it, it's more advantageous to not claim every month, right? Because if you claim every month, technically you're not going to be getting a positive return in tokens. But if you claimed after 6 months, for example, you would be in a much better position than 1 or 2 months. So things like that are things to keep in mind. So why we do have to release that calculator when we're ready. It's not quite time yet to drop that out there, but Bernie made a pretty good one. So I'll shout out Bernie again for whenever we get that going. But yeah, check that out. It's page number 10 in the white paper. It goes into each of those totals. That is the defined amount. The life depletion rate per 30 days is an independent depletion rate compared to that of the 30% that is for claiming.
All right, another question from the Red King. Just to confirm, notes 19 notes divided by 5 will be 3 or 4 notes approximately.
Sorry, I couldn't. Nodes 19 nodes divided by 5. Okay, yeah. So very, very simple. If you can take 19 and just open up your phone calculator, divide it by 5, you get a number of 3.8, right? Only take the whole number. So 19 nodes divided by 5 would give you, let's make sure I did that right. Yeah, brain's working. 3.8. That would give you 3 of those NFTs moving over. Now, if you had 20 divided by 5, that's 4. You would have 4 over. So 19 is 3, 20 is 4, 21 would be 4. So just take that whole number whenever you divide it by that defined part of the announcement. So if it's divisible by 2, by 5, by 10, by 15, just take the whole number associated with that.
All right.
All right. Let's see. Ronan, the dude, is typing. We'll give you a second here, see if you do have a question. But we'll kind of wrap it up here in just a little bit. If you do have a question, of course, we will answer, Ronan, so we can filibuster just for a second. I showed up late. I know, man. So it's weird. So I'll go over that. So with the time changes, which, by the way, hate daylight savings time, makes literally no sense to me, but it has been here since, I believe, World War I, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, UTC time stays the same, but we fell back. So Britain actually fell back a week before America fell back in time. So it's all messed up. So right now it's still 8 p.m. UTC, but in a lot of regions of the world, it's 1 hour earlier than it was a month ago. It's kind of a mess, but we just kept it as it was to try to make it as clean as possible as far as a time-to-time consideration. But yeah, I know. I feel you, man. No worries. But Mr. T, you are typing as well. And Ronan. Living the best life here. Actually, pretty good AMA. We're 48 minutes in. I say this every time. I want you guys to be bombarding us with questions. I like it when people talk live because it gives me a second to breathe. And there's also some like voice-to-voice interaction, which is pretty cool. It's a little different than, just text. All right, Mr. T. He does have a question for us.
Let's say a 15 Diamond Everest created after 27th of August. Does it make me 27 Everest or 1 Everest in total?
So the number that I put out for the special NFTs was just an example. As I kind of talked about a little bit before, I don't quite know the exact conversion rate per different date of these special NFTs. So right now we have them listed up there. All the information that I've already put out in that announcement is for the base level. Okay, yeah, I understand what you mean. So let's see. So let's just say you took away the diamond thing, right? So if it's 15 Everest and they're divisible by 15, that would be 1 Everest. Now, if we treat, which is what Enor said, the special NFTs a little bit differently, then it will be something a little bit different. I don't really want to speculate on what that will be until I hear exactly what that will be, because I just don't want to mislead anybody with information that maybe isn't finalized yet, maybe I'm not aware of yet, whatever the case might be. That's all okay there. But there will be something different as far as I'm aware for the special NFTs. So base Everest, if you had 15 divisible by 15, you'd have 1 Everest NFT on version 4.0. We move over to BSC.
All right. No one else typing?
All right, cool. Well, I'd say it's a pretty good AMA here. So definitely appreciate you guys all for joining us again on this weekly Polar Community AMA. Thank you, Pred, for joining us up here for the time that you did explain a little bit about the games. Thank you, Julian, for helping out as always. And thank you to each and every single one of you within the community who are still engaging with us, still asking questions daily, still trying to learn more, because there is going to be plenty of good information coming out here in the coming days, weeks, months, etc. for Polar. So shout out to each and every one of you. We will catch you guys in the chats all week, and then same time, same place for next week's AMA. So peace out, fam.